So, on the aspect of, if you look at the scenario of the church in general, one is often disappointed, one should say. I guess there hasn't been a point in near future. There won't be a point in near future, or perhaps there won't be a point in, uh, you know, won't be a point. There wasn't a point in couple of 100 years. In the past, where a Catholic won't be disappointed with what's going on with his church members, what is going inside the church, what is going on inside the church, what is going on outside the church. He doesn't see anything but depression and disappointment. For example, if you look at, and this is not just for Catholic Church in general, this is for the entire Christendom, so to speak. Those who identify themselves as Christians. So, what's the solution for this? I guess one of the we are tempted to look forward to a solution like a political solution where I'm often tempted, let's say, where all these Christian countries could come together, and you've pressurized the non-Christian countries, because usually the all the first world countries are predominantly Christian as of now. And but I would change this thought that, but why exactly they aren't predominantly Christian? But it seems to be that they're predominantly Christian, and they should pressurize the entire world to get away with their persecuted, to get away to stop the persecution of Christians around the world. Christianity today is the most persecuted religion in the world. The reason why that actually is not happening is because people don't identify themselves with the Christian identity. For them, their Catholic identity or the Christian identity in general doesn't mean anything to them. They are just Christians for namesake, and that is the reason why even if a Christian gets persecuted, they don't hear this news. The people say, okay, the media is not saying something, or something or the other. Yes, definitely media to a certain extent, it's usually controlled by not by the church. It's not controlled by the conservatives. It's usually controlled by the left leaning people, because they know how to indoctrinate the minds of the people. But people in general, one of the things you could also speak here is this: media will only show people what they want. And if you are a conservative, there is a channel for conservatives, and if you are liberal, there is a channel for liberals. The reason why there are more liberal channels in America than conservative channels is simply because of the fact that there are more liberals in America than the conservatives. So people don't identify, and if you don't identify with your religion, then you are not going forward to hear religious news until a disaster actually happens altogether. Slow persecution would never be seen by you, and then you would be and you don't care about the religious identity anymore. So you don't care about the religious persecution, or you don't care about, like, it doesn't appeal to you that much, because you don't care about that identity anymore. And this is the reason why the first world, I should say, or the so-called Christian countries are not what I would perhaps say a Christendom. Christendom is a political concept which I would say is just like built on the concept of Hinduism different from Hindutva. So Christendom is different from Christianity, in the sense that there is this political nation of all Christian countries, or all Christian population coming together and forming a political outfit, which forces different people, and which forces different organizations, which forces different countries to act according to the policies. So this is what I would say as Christendom. It's universal, because Christianity, Gospel, Catholic Church, everything of that sort is universal. Now, that is what basically I would say Christendom is. One is tempted to think of that sort. I also thought that couldn't we create an organization like, and I would name it perhaps like Christopher, and this organization would be more of the lines of, built on the lines of RSS or Bajrang Dal, or other Hindu outfit organizations. Now, of course, these organizations are, to a certain extent, they are, you know they're quite militant, but at the same time these organizations first of all have, it's not few people there, few people here. It's I see an organization, especially in countries where people in almost all the churches, especially the youth and the men and women also, definitely, all of them being part of this organization across all Christian countries. Now, one of the things that we have to look here is this: if we want to target Christian persecution, then we will target Christian persecution. We cannot see Anglican, Protestant, Catholic here. Everybody is persecuted in the name of Jesus Christ. So, you know, all the Christian, everyone who identify themselves as Christian should come together, because of the because everyone has a right of freedom of religion, and therefore, here you are not a Catholic or not a Protestant, but you are a Christian and Christ. So every church is, it would be a sort of ecumenism for Catholics as well. When you interact, when you stand for faith of your Christian brothers, even though they are not, it's not the Catholic faith in general. And I'm saying that, in organizations which primary, they should have a uniform, they should have a, specific flag for this Christendom, a united flag for all Christians. They should have members in all the Christian communities. They should held regular meetings. There should be people appointed in these organizations from different communities, and there should be people elected to these organizations. These organizations should be present all over the world. These organizations should have, a huge wealth across the countries, wherever Christian countries are there, and these organizations should evangelize the entire Europe, America, and other countries in the world to Christianize themselves, to Christianize back, I should say, themselves, and and establish the Christendom. And this Christendom is basically, this is basically a political voice across all the countries. So it should be such that, and they should hold, especially in times of protest, they should basically hold rallies. They should be taught with guns. They should be taught how to handle guns. They should be taught how to handle sticks. They should know how to protest, and they should be trained how to protest, etc., how to hold protest. And they should be, everyone should in this community should know self-defense. Everyone should know how to rally around the consensus of people. I have to rally in the streets, becoming a voice for Christians, and showing the muscle power as well. And basically forcing different countries, and definitely many political parties should walk hand in hand with this Christopher, and then this political unit should decide who becomes what. This political this political come religious organizations decides who becomes the prime minister, who becomes the chief minister. Various ministers and various governors are of this organization, and presidents are of these organizations of various countries, and they are forcing the non-Christian countries to change the laws which allow Christians to be freely practicing their faith, against terrorism, against Islamic terrorism or other kinds of terrorism, and so on and so forth. So a kind of a political, socio-religious organization. This is what I would say, Christopher. This I'm often tempted to have an organization like that. However, one of the things that I often say that, and that is one thing. Secondly, which is, this could still be called as Christian. There is secondly one other thing which, because the fact is that people don't identify themselves with regard to their identity. These organizations would make sure that people are coming back to the attachment to their identity. People will attend their meetings, and so this would slowly build up to that community level. Now, coming to the fact that and this would face all kinds of critics of Christianity. They would face hand in hand combat would be there of liberals and feminists, etc. Hand in hand combat in the sense they would eagerly discuss. There would be academics in these organizations. It would not be just a militant organization. It would be an academic organization as well. It would be overall cultural bonding organizations. You have all sorts of people in these organizations. These organizations would go and help people, help the countries in disaster if need be. So I mean that kind of an organizations, I'm literally looking for an organizations across the world for the Christian voice being present. Right now the Christians are not united at all, and of course they don't care about their identity as Christians as well. So that is something that I'm looking for. But at the same time, this is something that I'm looking for. There's also a thought like, could there be you know a random terrorist guy who basically who basically bombs every mosque for every church that is destroyed. This is definitely anti-Christian. But there are temptations to people think that these things should be burned. So if churches are destroyed, let the mosques be also destroyed, let the temples be also destroyed, let the temples be also burned. The abortion clinics be also burned and destroyed, etc. So those things are definitely anti-Christians, anti-Christian. But one is often thought to think about this as well. But definitely it's anti-Christian. But and then one is also thinks that many Christian countries should come together to fight against the Christian persecution, and people should not leave the church. Because people should not leave the church in the sense that in the Western countries they have become mostly liberals and secular, and so the religion is falling apart, and you religious conservatives don't have any voice in these countries. It's like they are breathing their last breath. And when I look at all these things, when I just think about all these things, one thing that comes to my mind is that just like us right now, Christians in the 21st century, they were Jews waiting at the time of Jesus for a Messiah. Couple of them are still waiting because they don't accept Jesus, but they wanted a political, they thought about a political ruler who would basically establish the temple of Jerusalem again, build the temple of Jerusalem again, establish a political rule, establish the Jewish state where all the Jews from around the world would come together. No more persecution of Jews, no more tears for Jews. In his time, there would be peace, and so on and so forth. A political leader for that matter. What happened? Son of God came down to this earth, died for us, died the death of a thief, of a murderer, and basically was crucified. But he got resurrected, and a message was given to the entire world to spread the Christianity. Now look at this. Look at this. What people thought and what actually happened. We Christians cannot ourselves do anything. In fact, we literally cannot do anything. It's only Christ who will do for us, and we have to just follow the words of the Christ, follow the word of the Christ. If you look at persecution, what's written at the end of the day for Christians is persecution. And in the last days there would be persecution with there would be antichrist, there would be division, but there would be antichrist, there would be the beast, and the revelation clearly says that there would be worldwide persecution of believers of Christ. And then what would happen? Then Christ would, and only after Christ would come, and only then the Christ would come, and only then Christ would basically redeem the entire humanity, and judge all those who are persecuted. It's for Christ for to judge, not for us. It's not a revenge is something which we don't have a right to take, so I mean, we always look at that political aspect, just like Jews were looking for a political Messiah, but God has greater things in mind. God has already shown that Christ would come and take revenge on people, so we should not take it. And clearly, God has not said, although God said to to go to the every nation and preach the gospel, but God has certainly not said that every nation would accept Christ as the Lord and Savior. So even though we preach the gospel, people would not accept it, and we clearly don't have a happy, glorious ending in this world, uh, until and unless Jesus comes. If Jesus comes, and like if meaning, yeah, definitely Jesus would come. So uh, until and unless Jesus comes, we don't have a good political, social, cultural, or whatever place in this world, a voice in this world. We are going to be persecuted. We are going to be persecuted worldwide. So be ready for that, brothers and sisters. We don't have a political option. We might create this was something which I envision, of an organizations like Christopher, but we might not be able to create it. We have to be ready to be divided and not united. Um, um, we have to be ready to be, to be defenseless, to be persecuted, to be persecuted worldwide, for from different sections of the society, and the beast would come, the Antichrist would come, everyone would come and persecute us, and we have to be ready for that. Only Christ would come, and then only He would take the revenge. Political, we ourselves taking the revenge and establishing a good, just society at the end of the world is not something that is written in the Bible, and that even though we try our level best, isn't going to happen.